I laughed about our break being my hookup phase. Now he treats me like a roommate. Posted by you/throwaway_roommate vibes. Hey Reddit, longtime lurker, first time poster on a throwaway because I honestly don't know who else to tell this to without getting completely torn apart. Also, full disclosure, I know I'm the dumbass protagonist in this story. I'm not here to be defended. I'm here because I need advice and maybe a reality check. I'm not trying to spin this in a way that makes me look like the misunderstood good guy. I know I'm not. I'm not trying to rid myself of blame or point fingers at anyone else. I just need to vent, and I need to hear from people who don't personally know me, because when it comes from friends or family, it's never neutral. It's either sugar-coated or way too biased. I want honesty, even if it stings. So basics, I am a 33-year-old woman, and my husband Ben is a 34-year-old man. We've been together for 9 years total, married for 4. And let me just start this by saying Ben is an amazing person, like genuinely. He's not perfect, nobody is, but compared to me, he's the kind of person who remembers your coffee order from 3 years ago or fixes something in the house before you even notice it's broken. When we first met, I wasn't even looking for a relationship. I was honestly at that, I don't need a man, I just want to focus on me stage. And then he just sort of happened. We met through mutual friends and just clicked, which is why the fact that I managed to screw this up is something I still don't know how to fully explain. Our relationship was good. Our marriage was good. Solid. We loved each other, still do, or at least I know I do. But the thing is, good doesn't always mean exciting. Good doesn't always mean fulfilling every single part of you. And sometimes when something is steady and consistent and predictable, it also gets tiring. Not bad, not toxic, not unbearable, just stale. The best way I can describe it, it's like eating the same meal every day. Let's say it's mac and cheese, your favorite mac and cheese, the kind you could swear you'd never get sick of. And at first, it's the best thing ever. Exactly what you want. But after a while, even if it's still good, even if it's still the same cheesy, creamy dish you loved the first day, you start to get sick of it. You start to crave something different, something new. And when you finally realize you've been eating the same thing for years, it can feel suffocating. And that's what started creeping into my head with Ben. Nothing was wrong, but at the same time, something felt missing. I am very, very ashamed to admit this, like painfully ashamed. I feel guilty even typing it out, but I promised myself if I was going to post this, then I'd do it honestly. And the truth is, they say you never really know what you have until it's gone, right? And that's exactly what's happening with me. I had it good, I knew I had it good, but then I went and got bored. It wasn't that anything dramatic was wrong. It was just life. Life added onto life. Routine stacked onto routine. And suddenly everything started to feel kind of the same. Predictable. Like I could tell you exactly what the next week, the next month, the next year was going to look like. Wake up, go to work, cook dinner, watch Netflix, go to bed. Rinse and repeat. Over and over. And I don't even want to use the word craving because it makes me sound reckless or selfish. But honestly, that's what it was. I started to feel small, like just another faceless speck of dust spinning on this big planet, while everyone else out there was somehow living these flashy, shiny, exciting lives. And yeah, logically, I know how fake that all is. I know influencers and celebrities and YouTubers put hours of work into making their lives look effortlessly glamorous. I know it's curated, filtered, manufactured, but even when you know that, it still gets in your head. You scroll and scroll and scroll, and the comparison monster eats you alive anyway. Their lives looked exciting. I started to feel restless, like I missed the younger, wilder version of me, the me that used to go out on Friday nights, drink too much, laugh too loud, dance like an idiot, and not care who was watching. That girl felt alive. And somewhere along the way, she got buried under grocery lists, mortgage payments, and laundry schedules. And now I just felt like every same old regular American couple, the kind where your neighbors could literally predict your routine down to the day. Wake up, coffee, work, dinner, Netflix, bed. Rinse, repeat, no excitement, no wild streak, nothing to shake things up a bit. That restlessness started boiling over into our marriage. I didn't even notice it at first, but I started lashing out. I was snarkier with Ben, ruder, shorter. I'd cancel our date nights because honestly, they felt like the same thing on repeat. Dinner at one of the 3 restaurants we always went to, maybe a movie, maybe just heading home early because we were tired. I wanted something more, something different, but instead of actually saying that, I acted out like a brat. I lashed out the way I knew how, by nitpicking, being dismissive, throwing sarcasm around like confetti, without even realizing I was doing it half the time. And of course, that just led to us arguing more and more. We went from barely fighting at all to snapping at each other constantly. Ben was confused. I could see it all over his face, this "what the hell happened" kind of look whenever I got snappy. He didn't understand why I was being this way, and to be fair, I couldn't even explain it properly myself. He even suggested counseling, and I shot it down immediately, like flat out refused, which in hindsight, wow, what a dumb move. But back then, I was too stubborn, too restless, too convinced that I wasn't the problem. So we argued a little more, and eventually it all boiled down to us deciding to take a break. And I'll be real with you, I accepted that idea eagerly, like embarrassingly eagerly. Not because I didn't love him, but because I thought, okay, maybe I just need to breathe for a bit. Maybe some space will reset everything. I thought it would be short, temporary, no big deal. Just a practical, awkward, but necessary little pause. Ben framed it that way too. He said I seemed like I needed room to breathe, and maybe we both did. Maybe we just needed some time away from each other's constant presence. And I agreed. Unequally, though, like he was hesitant and I was secretly excited. We agreed on the break. But what we didn't do was set rules. We never said we could see other people. We never said we couldn't. It seems like a giant gray area to leave out, right? Like not defining something as big as whether or not we could see other people. But honestly, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just one of those miscommunication things. For Ben, it wasn't even a question. We were married. Married, like wedding vows, rings on our fingers, in it for life. Break or not, in his mind, there was no scenario where either of us would want to see other people. At least that's what he said later. That's why it never crossed his mind to bring it up. As for me, I thought the same thing too, at least at first. When we agreed to take the break, I had no interest in seeing other people. That wasn't the point. The point was space. The point was to finally just breathe, to not be up in each other's faces 24/7. I told myself I was still committed, still married. A break didn't magically erase our vows. So my plan was simple. Use that space to do my own thing. Go out with my friends more. Check out a couple of places I never bothered with before. Drink a little more than usual. Be a little reckless in ways I hadn't been in years. Nothing serious, nothing relationship threatening. Just me, getting a little of me back. And at first, that's exactly what I did. I kept it fairly tame. I told myself I had to still be responsible because at the end of the day, I was still married. A lot of my friends weren't. They were single, divorced, or just in totally different situations than I was. So I couldn't hold myself to the same standards as them. I'd go out, but keep an eye on my limits. 1 or 2 drinks, maybe 3, but not blackout. If it was a weeknight, I wouldn't stay out too late because I still had work in the morning. I was mindful about what I was wearing, careful about how I came off, and overall tried not to cross any big lines. But my friends were persuasive, way too persuasive. They kept telling me, "This is your freedom phase. You won't ever have another time like this. You'll be sucked back into married life soon. You'll never get this chance again." And I believed them. They weren't wrong, at least not in the way they framed it. I wouldn't have another moment like this, not unless something huge happened again. So slowly, I gave in, because I didn't want to be the boring one. I didn't want to be the friend who had lost herself to her marriage, who couldn't cut loose or have fun without her husband. I didn't want to be the one sitting at the table sipping water while everyone else was on their 3rd round of tequila shots. I didn't want to be the girl who proved everyone right when they said marriage changes you. I started drinking more, flirting harder, letting myself get carried away in ways I hadn't since college, and it felt good, stupid, reckless, and temporary, but good. It gave me this cheap, adrenaline-like high, a high that made me think, oh, I can have this and still keep Ben. No big deal. At first, I kept a line. I let myself make out with random guys at parties or clubs, a drunk kiss here and there. It happens, right? Clubs are messy, crowded, sweaty, and chaotic. It didn't feel like cheating. At least that's what I told myself. Just kissing. Just flirting. Nothing serious. But the moment I crossed that line the first time I slept with someone else, there was no stopping me. And I hate admitting that. I'm very, very ashamed to even type it out. But it's the truth. Once that barrier was broken, it was like a floodgate opening. Suddenly, hookups weren't this unthinkable thing. They were just another part of my nights out. And it snowballed quickly. What started as one mistake turned into me getting hookups pretty much every weekend. Sometimes more. A new guy almost every time. How did my husband never notice? Simple. I was barely at home. Ever since the break started, I was spending more and more time at my friend's place. It was my crash pad. If I needed to go to work, I'd go from there. If I stayed out too late, I'd crash there instead of going home. So it wasn't like Ben saw me stumbling in late at night or anything. And when I did hook up, I rarely brought them back with me. I wasn't that reckless. It was usually their place, or a hotel, or sometimes just some grimy little spot that made sense in the moment. Gross, yeah. Disgusting, yeah. But in the heat of the moment, when it's midnight or 1 a.m. and the music is pounding and the drinks are flowing, logic takes a back seat, and I let it. Meanwhile, Ben, he wasn't exactly chasing me down. He threw himself into work, picked up new hobbies, started spending more hours at the office, joined a couple of groups, found things to do with his own free time. He seemed almost relieved to have the space too, at least at first. After a couple months, it really started to hit me how empty the whole thing was. At first, yeah, it was fun. I felt like I had jumped back into a version of myself I thought I'd lost. The younger, wilder me, who didn't have responsibilities or routines dragging her down. It was exciting. It scratched an itch. But after a while, it all just started blending together. The same shit, just in different packaging. Different restaurants, different clubs, different nights, different faces. But it was all the same. And honestly, it got boring. Whatever rush I was chasing faded, and what was left was just exhaustion. The whole wild streak I thought I wanted so badly wasn't sustainable. It was like eating too much candy. At first, it's sweet and fun, but after a while it makes you sick. And then, weirdly enough, I started craving the exact thing I had been running from in the first place. The quiet, casual domestic life. The thing I thought was too dull, I wanted it back. It's a fucking circle, that's what it is. You chase what you don't have, only to miss what you left behind. So yeah, eventually I just drifted out of that scene. I stopped keeping stuff at my friend's place, stopped bouncing between clubs and late-night hangouts. I found myself staying in more, going to the mall to waste time, working from home when I could. My husband was on a short business trip then, and was to return back a couple days later, and I had this whole perfect night built up in my head. I told myself this would be the night we'd reconcile. No more break, no more distance, just us, back to normal. I went all in on it, cleaned the house top to bottom, made dinner, even took the day off work so I could do everything right. I was in such a good mood the entire day. Every little thing I did, watching a movie, setting the table, putting on music, cooking. I did it with a smile because I wanted this night to be special. I wanted to sit down, talk, eat, patch things up, and cuddle up together like we used to. When he finally came back, though, it wasn't what I expected. He was off, cold, standoffish. I told myself it was just the trip, maybe it had been stressful, maybe he was just tired. So I tried harder, helped him with his luggage, plated the food, tried to chat to make him feel comfortable, but he stayed distant, barely touched his food, barely looked at me. Eventually I couldn't ignore it anymore, so I asked him what was wrong. At first I thought it had to be something from his trip, like maybe work stress or a problem he couldn't shake. But that's when he finally told me. He asked what I had been doing during most of our break. I told him the safe version, that I'd been catching up on hobbies, keeping busy with work, going out with friends sometimes. I didn't lie exactly, but I definitely left out the parts that mattered. That's when he told me outright that he'd been hearing things. Reports, that during the break and even while he was gone, I hadn't just been going out with friends. I'd been partying, a lot, hooking up with people. I wanted to deny it. My first instinct was to just brush it off as lies, gossip, exaggeration. But what was the point? He was going to find out. Hell, he already had found out. Denying it would just make me look worse. So instead, I made the mistake of downplaying it. I laughed. Like an idiot, I laughed and called it my hookup phase. Told him, yeah, I hooked up with a couple people, but it was just because we were on a break. But he didn't laugh. Not at all. His face was stone. He told me flat out just because we were on a break. That didn't mean I could go sleeping around. We were still married. We had vows. He said the break wasn't supposed to be a free pass, it was supposed to be space. A breather, time to reset, not destroy what we had. And I froze. Because he was right, completely right. I didn't even know how to defend myself. I had nothing. So I just sat there and let him talk. He explained that the only reason he even suggested the break was because I had been acting suffocated, restless, like I couldn't stand being around him anymore. He had thought giving me space was what I needed, that it would help us. And the way I had jumped at the idea of a break only convinced him that he was right. But he hadn't expected me to use that space to go running wild, to go hooking up with people, to treat it like a hall pass. And he kept repeating it, we had vows. Break or not, vows were vows. Married was married. And I just sat there, I was tongue-tied for the longest damn time, like literally just sitting there frozen while he picked up his plate and walked off to go eat in another room. And the truth is, what the hell was I even supposed to say? I had nothing. Zero. Nada. No excuses. No clever defense. No, but wait, hear me out. I just sat there because deep down I knew he was right. 100% right. The thing is, when I was out being reckless, doing the whole wild phase thing, I never once thought this far ahead. I didn't picture this exact moment where I'd be sitting across from him, completely exposed, with absolutely nothing to fall back on. I didn't think about consequences. I didn't think about the fallout. I didn't think about him finding out, and that's the part that really gets me, because I'm not stupid. I knew that if the rumors piled up, they'd eventually get back to him. But even then, I just didn't think that far. I was too busy living in the moment, pretending that being on a break made me free. And now? Well, now it's backfired in the ugliest way possible. For the next few days, he was cold, like ice cold, distant in a way I'd never seen him before, and I was lost, completely lost. I didn't know what to say or what to do or how to make him feel better. Honestly, I still don't. All I could do was apologize over and over again. I kept telling him I was willing to do whatever it takes to fix this, to make us work again. I threw myself into work, tried to make sure nothing felt off, like maybe if I could maintain some kind of routine, it would help ease things back to normal. But that's the thing, it hasn't, not at all. I thought maybe after some time, after he saw that I was serious, that I was owning up to everything, that I wasn't hiding behind excuses, he'd start to warm up, even just a little. But it's been months now, and nothing has changed. He treats me like a roommate. That's honestly what it feels like. A distant, polite, cold roommate. No affection, no warmth, no intimacy. Just coexisting under the same roof. And I don't know what to do. I've apologized until my throat hurts. I've taken full accountability, admitted it was 100% my fault. I've distanced myself from my friends completely. I've cut ties with the scene, with the parties, with anything that could even look like temptation. I've told him I'll do whatever he wants, counseling, changes, whatever. But nothing. It's like he's dug himself into this shell, and I can't reach him no matter how much I try. I actually want to suggest counseling because I think we need it, desperately. But I know him. I know how stubborn he can be, and I know how much pride he carries. And since I was the one who refused counseling when he suggested it before our break, I just have this gut feeling he's going to shut me down now out of spite. I miss my husband. I regret this whole break more than anything. It wasn't worth it, not even close. And now I don't know how to pull us back from this. I don't know how to talk to him in a way that actually reaches him. I don't know if there's even a way back. I honestly don't know what else to do. If anyone has a helpful tip, some kind of perspective, or even just advice on how to approach him again, I'd really, really appreciate it. Update. Hello, Reddit. I made a post here months back when I was in a really confused state of mind. I didn't know what the hell to do, and I really just needed some perspective. Some opinions from people who didn't know me personally. People who could look at my situation from the outside and just tell me straight. At that time, I was in such a bad place. Honestly, I still am. I don't think I've fully climbed out of that hole yet. If you're stumbling across this randomly, my original post is on my profile. It blew up way more than I expected, and the comments, well, I won't say I didn't expect them. I did. I've been on Reddit long enough to know how brutal it can be. That's why I said in my original post over and over that I knew I was at fault. I knew I wasn't the victim here. I admitted I was 100% at fault. But even though I knew that, I still wanted to fix things. That's why I posted. Because I thought maybe, just maybe, some of you could give me some advice. Maybe someone had gone through something similar. Maybe someone had advice I hadn't thought of. I wasn't looking for people to tell me I was wrong. I already knew that. But, well, that's mostly what I got. And honestly, I deserved it. A lot of people told me this was a fuck around and find out situation, and yeah, that stung. But it was also true. I had been stupid. I hadn't thought far ahead. I let myself get carried away by this desperate need to feel crazy again. And I basically used the whole break as an excuse for my reckless decisions. And then I laughed about it. Hookup phase. What the hell was I thinking saying that out loud? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, and I sure as hell won mine. In the end, the damage I did was too much. Irreversible. I had cheated, whether I want to spin it as a break or not, and worse, I had laughed about it. I hurt my husband in a way that no amount of sorry could fix. For a long time after my post, he treated me like a roommate. A polite but distant roommate. We ate in silence. He did his chores. I did mine. No fights, no yelling, but no warmth either. Just two people coexisting in the same space. And then one day, he finally sat me down. And he told me he wanted a divorce. I'd seen it coming. Deep down, I knew it was inevitable, but hearing it out loud still blindsided me. I cried that day. I cried for weeks after. Honestly, I'm still crying. I'm mourning the loss of a marriage that I destroyed with my own hands. I can't even blame my so-called friends. Yeah, they cheered and influenced me during my wild phase. They hyped me up, told me I deserved freedom. But the truth is, I had outgrown them a long time ago. I just didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to be the boring married friend who'd changed. I thought marriage was making me different, but the truth is I had already changed, and I didn't realize it. And it cost me my marriage to figure that out. I love Ben so much. I don't think I'll ever love anyone the way I love him. He's an amazing man, and I hate that I destroyed what we had. I hate that this is my fault. I cry in the shower, embarrassed and ashamed, replaying every stupid choice I made that led to this. I don't want it to sound like I'm guilt-tripping him, but the truth is I'm depressed. I'm heartbroken, and I don't know what to do without him. Like, think about it. You have this sweet domestic life with the love of your life. Then you get restless. You feel too normal. You miss the wilder, younger you. So you start lashing out. You start chasing old shit. You surround yourself with friends who egg you on. And then you go on this bender of trying to be your old self again until you realize it's empty. It's shallow. And when that wears off, you suddenly miss the stability you had. But by then it's too late. The damage is done. That's the circle. And I was dumb enough to fall for it. If I had just agreed to counseling when he suggested it, maybe things would have been different. If I had just talked to him instead of lashing out. If. Life is full of those ifs, and they're brutal. Right now, we still live in the same house, but we're basically roommates. He told me he would be the one to move out, and he's been searching for a new place. He even said that instead of selling the house after the divorce, I could buy out his half if I wanted. Part of me desperately wants to. This house feels like my last connection to our marriage, but I don't even know if I can afford it. I've got debts. My savings aren't great. Reality is setting in, and it sucks. I haven't told my family yet we're not that close, and honestly, I just can't deal with their judgment right now. Our mutual acquaintances know, though. It's awkward, but whatever. It's 2 a.m. as I'm typing this, and I couldn't sleep. My chest feels heavy, and I just needed to get this off my chest somewhere. Maybe I'll delete this throwaway after posting. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I just know that I'm tired and sad. If you read this far, thank you.